Right.
Um,
Right. Dun, 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 dun,
good
dun.
morning, folks. How we doing? Welcome to the Inner Mind Code podcast with myself, Stuart Cheung, and Victoria E. Armstrong. This morning, we're going to talk about new beginnings, fresh starts. So, a lot of us, we have these plans, we have these great ideas, coming into a new year that we're going to do all these, New Year's resolutions, and we're going to say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to do this year. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get, all these things. And come the end of maybe February, we start to dip and all these New Year's resolutions start to kind of fade into the background and, they're non-existent. So we want to talk about like how, the power of your mind, how, you can do these things and you can start with new beginnings anytime at all. It doesn't have to be at the start of a new year. It doesn't have to be like, at the start of 2026, I want to do this. Each and every day that is given to us, each and every day that is gifted to us is a brand new day. It's a brand new beginning. It's a fresh start. It's something that, we talk a lot about. We've mentioned it a few times probably in the podcast here. I mentioned a lot in my coaching. I mentioned a lot in my daily life as well, that you know the past is in the past. Leave it there. It's baggage. What you have experienced, what the pains you've experienced, the traumas you've experienced, all these things. Don't let them hold you back. And this is a huge thing in society, that people let these things hold them back from moving forwards, from progressing, from taking control of their lives, from starting something new, a new beginning. So for me, each and every day is day one. Each and every day is day one. I wake up this morning and I go, well, what can I do that's new today? What can I do that brings something fresh to the table? Yesterday is gone. I can't bring it with me. So today is all we have. It's the now and the future. If we look after the now, the future looks after itself. So again, it's important to realize that you are in a place where you can, you're in control. You're in control of what happens. You're in control of your destiny. You're in control of your future. You're in control of a lot of things. And unfortunately, we let society, we let these conditionings take control of our life. So it's important to figure out, how do we master this? How do we master new beginnings? How do we master fresh starts? How do we figure out, okay, today is day one. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to implement? What am I going to try and achieve? What am I going to try and, let go of? What am I going to try and, master? What am I going to try and create? What am I going to try and innovate with? So, it's important to realize that if you let the past control your life, you're not going to move ahead. You're not going to move ahead with any of these things. So, Vic, what are your thoughts on this, and where do you see?
Thank you. Yes, now I've a
Yeah.
couple of hacks I want to share, but definitely the one you've just talked about, starting every day is day one. I think it's safe to say that's the first mind hack that we're going to talk about, or we can give to the audience. The second one for me would be it's a little bit of a cheat, but we're Irish. We like to rebel against the system and do what we can. For the higher good, of course. What I do is, my birthday's in August. So what I do every August, I set my New Year's resolutions and goals then. I don't wait the extra few months to the new year. So by the time December comes around, January, I'm already in full flow of my goals and the things I want to achieve for the next year. So
Mhm.
for example, um, I'm hitting a big birthday this year. So last, I know, bum, bum, bum. So I wanted to say, okay, what am I achieve by the time I'm 50, because it's another year. I know.
Five oh.
So many of my friends and I are just like, how did this happen? And I says, no, you have to look at the positive. I says, we have parents who have children our age. I know. It's all about diverting the focus. It's how you frame things.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, so I apologize for any parents out there with children our age. But why not? It's as Stuart was saying earlier, life is about celebrating. And I firmly
Mm.
believe the more you celebrate, the more life gives you to celebrate. If you celebrate life. So it's important that because I know so many people who don't celebrate their birthdays. They don't want to recognize their age. I don't want to recognize that I'm hitting a whole new decade. So I had to rethink it. I had to think to myself, right, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, I can't change the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
change the way I think about it. And I thought, what haven't I achieved? And for the last, I don't know, well, definitely 20 years, I haven't achieved the fitness. I'm fit and healthy myself. I rarely go to the doctor, rarely need to. Um, but I want to get down to my ideal size and weight once and for all. And I thought, is that achievable in a year? And I had a look at the
course.
reality of it, and I thought, yes, I can. I can totally do this. So come the new year, so I had to use AI because I couldn't get the information I wanted around why I wasn't losing weight. I spent my whole 30s struggling with this, and I'm like,
Mm.
there's something not right. There's something I need to get in there and find out. I, through meditation, through a lot of things, I check in thyroid, metabolism. Turns out my metabolism is actually more sensitive than the average person. So kind of makes sense in terms of the Reiki energy and things. So it responds a lot quicker. Um,
Yeah.
and just to share this little, obviously, a mind body thing, you know how fast your metabolism works by anything goes, it doesn't. By the mind, it's the space of time that happens between you finishing your food and needing your first trip to the bathroom. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
way. So, number two is, of course, but it's a medical thing. It's a biology thing. So I want to share that. So I had a very short once I obviously was aware of that, I started to look at this. Don't get involved with your friends. Don't look at your friends and your family. Keep the focus on you. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. So, so by the time the new year came around this year, I'd already lost 8 kilos. We tend to put on a little bit over Christmas. I tried not to. I tried to stick to the plan just to see what it worked. It did and it didn't, but I did sort of filter up a wee bit to about another
Mm.
and a half. I'm going in kilos because um, that's what everybody else understands here in Spain. It's a European, and I think Ireland's the same, isn't it? Usually
Yeah.
part of the European Union, whereas the North is definitely in pounds and stones, and that confuses everything. So I'm sticking with kilos for now. So I just returned back to my plan on the second week of January, the first week.
Mm.
You're still getting over the holidays. And I got another 2 kilos. I got the kilos off I put on, and I have another 2 kilos off. So I've now totally lost 10 kilos. So I'm totally on track. How did I do it? I hear you say I had to go through the meditation processes. I had to go through the blocks. I had to go through emotional eating.
Yeah.
White bread and butter was the bane of my life. I knocked that in the head about 3 4 years ago. Um, going with was fitness and nutrition coaches. There's one I still follow him actually, Eric. I can't say his surname. Eric Ermides. Medes. Very great guy. He's on the Mind Valley platform, but he went into emotional eating. But it's kind of like he gave me the starting points, and then I took it further with meditation and things, um,
Yeah.
things that in our childhood that are still hanging around. It was all affecting me, so totally started to change the food I was eating. So I didn't know any of this was going on. So this has been a 5 year journey so far. But the 5 years, it's like anybody in the engineering field will understand this. The joke is that you take 10 years to plan something and then, 30 minutes to actually do the job. But there's so much
Yeah.
groundwork that has to go in. So I've had to find out what all these little blocks, all these emotional triggers, um, and then there's survival mode as well. If you've been through major trauma, breakups in your life, there's still going to be things that your weight is actually where your emotional weight hangs out. Mine's a lot of us, like a lot of people, solar plexus, stomach. I'm trying to protect my gun instinct. That's what this came down.
Mm.
I'm feeling
Wow.
and I didn't have a chance to express and be myself, which came
Mm.
a few silly things, being bullied at school, bits and pieces like that. It still hangs around us. So I was getting through all that, and then obviously getting down to crunching the numbers, and it turned out it was more hormonal. So for ladies out there with the peri muzzle, the
I
peri
can't help you. I can't help you there. Perimenopause is it perimenopausal?
muzzle, uh, if you're eating the right food and doing the right things, it doesn't matter what it's your hormones at the end of the day. So I'm still on the perimenopausal side. I'm just trying to shorten my words there. I'm still on the perimenopausal side and that things.
Mm.
But I got to the bottom of why my hormones were acting this certain way. And then eating the right foods to work with me physically while I'm figuring this out. So at the moment, it's working. If I hit
Hmm.
plateau, then fair enough. I'll revisit that because that's what I've had to do in the past. I've always been good losing a certain amount, and then I sabotage and go back, and then you end up putting on more. And that was
Yeah.
something that just drove me crazy to the point I just gave up. Uh,
Wow.
you take a bit of crap about it, but the other thing in my mind was the protection thing, and there's certain a mentality of men and women who won't, you know, they'll say to you, "Oh, you would be good looking if you lost 5 stone." I was like, "Oh, you'd be good looking to me if you shut up." You know, there's always ways you
Yeah. Yeah.
got to learn to do. Um, don't even go there. But I learned to fight with my mouth, which isn't healthy, but at the same time, I protected me. So once I got
Mm.
back, that's how I got rid of the bullies at school. I humiliate. They were trying to humiliate me, so I just took that energy instinctively at 10
Mm.
years old and threw it back. So they're saying to me I had too much weight on me, but yeah, I wasn't. When I look back now, I wasn't. Up until my 20s, my marriage, I was a size 10. I could not. I had longer neck on me. I couldn't put on weight. I couldn't lose it. But then it didn't make sense because the bullies were saying, oh, those trousers are very baggy on you today. And I ended it there by saying, well, the only thing baggy around here is your mouth. And the fella that she fancied, the wee crush on, he laughed. He took my side and laughed at the joke, and that was it. They never ever
Yeah.
bothered me again because they knew they were going to get some sort of retaliation. But no,
Mm.
back to the mind hack as such. I've just found that helps me. I don't know where it came from in terms of. I don't remember reading about it in a book. I think it was just something that came to me instinctively. Start your year on your birthday or a date that means something to you. So obviously,
Mm.
my birthday was better. I just thought, right, this is my last year, my 40s. What am I going to do here? What do I want to achieve? There's a few other goals in the bag, but this one was the top one. That's why I want to discuss that. So, in terms of achieving the goal, then it's seeing the destination in your sat nav. And I dealt with a girl just a couple of days ago. She tried to make her sales target for the month, and in her mind, her client wasn't playing ball. She was getting messed about by another company. And she's like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Well, what's your end result here? What's your commission?" Da 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 da. And she was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "You don't know your destination. You're driving in your car, wondering where you're going,
Mm.
but you've no destination in the sat nav." And she was
Wow. That's important.
totally cut the meeting short at that point and rushed out to get it all sorted. And she was back on later on. She says, "Yes, I now know my numbers. I've got this, this, and this." And I says, "Right, fantastic. Now go get it." Before the day was out, before 5 o'clock, she closed the client.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
because
And yeah, and
yeah.
even if she didn't, right? Even if she didn't, I believe that, that day is closed, that day is gone. So she shouldn't hang on to it, right? She should start the day, the following day fresh, right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, they let that get to them. Oh, I didn't close the client, or I didn't get enough people sales in today, or I didn't get enough sales in this week. And then they hang on to that. They hang on to that baggage, and they let it affect the rest of their weeks, and their performance. So especially if you're anyway emotionally inclined,
Mm-hmm.
where you can't let go easily. Like we used to have a thing in sales where we'd say some will, some won't. So what next? Move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, some people they will buy off you. Some people won't. So
Uh-huh.
what? Move on. It has to be like water off a duck's back.
Uh-huh.
So again, each and every day is fresh. Each and every day is new. So if you're hanging on to anything from the previous day, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to hold you back. It's
Yeah.
going to. It's like you're chained.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you're chained to last week. You're
Yeah.
chained to 5, 10 years ago. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Break free of these chains. Because you're the one that's manifesting these chains in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's an invisible cell. It's an invisible jail. It's an
Yeah.
invisible. You're chained to the wall. These chains are invisible. You're
Mm-hmm.
creating them.
Absolutely.
So how do you break free from these chains? I keep on going to say change. How do you break free from these chains? How do you break free from the jail? How do you break free from the prison that you've created in your mind?
Absolutely. There's so many people walking around like that. And she was doing the same. I mean, hers was even more basic than that. It was just know your destination. What
Mm,
what's the outcome that you want here? Well, obviously she wanted her commission. She wanted to help the client. She had no issues with that, but she got caught up in her own mindset. I said, you're like Tasmanian devil. Well, it's just a woman. So I says, Tasmanian devil's wife. She does the same, doesn't she?
yeah.
Caught up in the negativity was winning. Um, so yes, I think it's fair to say that's mine hack three in terms of what's this really about? Have you got your destination in? Uh,
Mm,
it's not usually a block in the road. I've described it to my own clients as, you come to the roundabout of life, you set a goal. It's the first step you do anyway. That's what I would do with a lot of people. Set the goal and create the visual in your mind. How will you know you've arrived there? Well, I know
yeah.
I've completed the marathon because I've gone through the finish line. I've got the finisher's medal over my neck. Boom, it's done. If you're at that point, you've definitely completed. If you don't have that for your goals, have a look at that and see. Take in the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes. They're going to be around and build it up over time. And that's what I did to finish the Berlin. But what happens then? We get to this roundabout of life, as I call it, and we decide, oh right, we're going to take the third exit. I'm coming at this side because I drive on the right hand side. But yeah, if you're in Ireland or UK,
And some people don't realize either.
okay,
Sorry.
that's my left and right. So yeah, so say you're going straight on, you're going, off at 12 o'clock. That's why my dad taught me to drive. You're coming off at 3 o'clock. You're coming off at 9 o'clock. Um, so yeah, going straight on. So that's the second exit. Let's say in this example. So you say, right, okay, feels right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. Going to achieve this. I'm coming off at 12 o'clock. You get to the second exit. You get down the road, and of course you hit a roadblock, a road bump, whatever it is. And this is where a lot of people have fallen through the net. Um, and where I realized then with coaching, this is what it's about. That's why I created this analogy. So they get to this road bump or whatever it is an obstacle of some sort. And they're like, oh, this isn't meant to be. Oh, I knew this wasn't for me. Oh, who do I think I am? And the negativity starts to creep in. And
Mm,
9 times out of 10, it wins. We're all human. I've done it myself. So we come back up to the roundabout and we go round it. And we're like, oh, okay, let's go off at 2 o'clock. So you go off at 2 o'clock, you go down the road, and lo and behold, what's waiting for you? The same obstacle, the same road, maybe in a different disguise, through a different person, through a different country. you know? But life will keep throwing you. And it's just like, you need to learn this. So no matter what exit, what people have realized, what I realized is no matter what exit you take, you're going to still hit this obstacle because it's blocking you. If
mm,
if you didn't have the block, you would have achieved it. You wouldn't be trying
yeah.
because you already achieved it. So you're going to have to face this roadblock with you anyway. But where society gets bogged down is we take drink, we take drugs, we overeat, we move house, we end a relationship, we do all these self sabotage behaviors to avoid that speed bump. But no matter what
Mm,
happens, you're going to have to come back. And we talk,
yeah.
and face it sometime. And we talked last week about the feather, the brick, and the truck. That's what these are. That's us coming off the different exits and then meeting if it's the feather, fair enough. But if you got to the point where you're the truck, it's like, okay, you really, really need to face this.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so yes, so that's my analogy with that in terms of embrace the obstacles because once you get, that's where your breakthrough is going to happen, and you're maybe going to get another three or four down the road.
Yeah.
But
They're
that's
constant, right? They're constant. Life has its challenges, and you know, they're exactly like they're all around us, right? So,
yeah,
it's how you deal with them. It's how you prepare yourself. It's how you manage them. Being adaptable is a huge one, actually. Being adaptable to change. Like having multiple skills and skill sets and even multiple mindsets to be able to figure out what way can I move around this? Can I go through it? Can I go over it? Can I go around it? How do I let that roadblock affect me?
Mm,
am I letting it affect my personal life? Am I letting it affect my physical life? Am I letting it affect all these things?
absolutely.
So,
Usually
you
all
know, yeah. And the thing is, right, like society, I think is built on a almost like a negative construct, right?
yes.
Where we get held back with all these different things, right? All these different factors, all these different things. But we should create a positive construct in our thoughts, in our perceptions, in our and the way we deal with things and the way we perceive things.
Yes.
And some people they figure out, oh, they always talk about problems. They always talk about problem. Oh, I have a problem with this problem, that problem. But what's the
Mhm.
solution? What talk about solutions? Talk about, like, how can I solve this? How can I navigate it? How can I do things more effectively? How can I so there's solutions for everything out there. There's
Mhm.
always a solution, you know. So if you want a new beginning or a fresh start, for a problem, figure out a solution. Like I hear people talk about problems, I hear people talking about pains, I hear people talking about traumas, but how do you deal with these things? How do you, because these things, again, they're holding you back. You want to
Absolutely.
move forwards. You want to have a new beginning. You want to have a fresh start.
Mhm.
Each and every day that we're upright is a fresh start.
Yeah.
Like, I think I said to someone the other day, they were complaining about something, and I said, "Look, lads, we're upright, aren't we? We have the potential to be able to do more with what we have, right? Because we're still above the ground. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're not below the ground yet. We're a long time dead. So we might as well, like, move forwards. Might as well, and people already out there, they're dead in their minds because
I know. I know.
it's sad because we let these external factors influence us. We let factors in relationships influence us. We let jobs influence us. We let churches influence us. We let schools influence us. But at the end of the day, we need to try and find our own way as
Exactly.
well. And like, this may appeal to only 3% of people out there in the world. What about the 97% that are caught in these cyclical cycles of life? It's just like it's like a hamster wheel, right? So,
Mhm.
a lot of people on the hamster wheel, they can't see left nor right because they're running, and
Yeah.
they're not getting anywhere. They're
Uh-huh.
getting exhausted, yeah, because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, they're running. That reminds me of I heard a funny Confucius line a few years ago.
Yeah.
Man who runs behind bus gets exhausted. So they say, right? But he's getting exhaust fumes, and plus he is getting exhausted, right? Because he's running after this bus. So, you
Yes.
know, don't be running after the bus. Don't be on the hamster wheel all the time, and try and deviate a bit because
Yeah. Get
now
on.
we're living in yeah,
That's when they're on the hamster wheel. They're on the roundabout. That's the same.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
They're not picking a road because it keeps them safe. Oh, I don't have a relationship because I work at this job and it requires me to work out of hours. It's you're telling yourself that to keep yourself safe.
Yeah,
Fair enough, because it'll work for so long, but then when the pain kicks in when the truck or the truck start to loom. No, get off the roundabout. Any one of those
mm,
roads. That's the secret I have found. Is just pick a road and get on with it and stay on that road and face it
yeah,
because you'll figure it out. You always figure it out no matter what. Um,
yeah,
and I think it was one of my favorite authors and his mind, Jack Canfield. He said it in the secret in the documentary itself. He said it's like driving. Life is like driving in a car at night. You can only see 200 yards ahead, at night if there's no lamp,
mm,
things like that. But he says once you've driven those 200 yards, then you can see the next 200 yards and you can drive across America. I don't think you could because it would soon come daytime. But the point he was making was just take the 200 yards at a time. Know your destination, of course, but the
yes,
fun and the adventure of life. And that's why I think it was one of the reasons I've definitely I've ended up in Spain without planning to be here. Is because I've taken I've practiced what I preached. I've gone on the roundabout.
yeah,
I've gone here. I've gone that road. I've tried to take a wee slip road to the beach, and it's just like I still ended up here. I was going to end up here because I had to.
Mm.
And now I can see the bigger picture. It's in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, the clue was, Stuart, when I was meditating for 3 years before I moved out of Ireland, learn Spanish, learn Spanish, learn Spanish. I kept getting that periodically. The clue was
Well,
telling me learn Spanish. But was like, why would I want to learn Spanish? I fought it.
and now,
I
and now
can't.
you're there.
I'm Espanol todos los días.
Yeah,
Oh, it's important. But once I got here and I realized, okay, yeah, that the message was right. Yeah, I need to get on that. So I did. The third week I was here, out with the apps, out with the non-English speakers here, and threw myself in. I was like, don't give me the brick or the the truck. I've totally got the hint now. You proved the point. Who
mm,
universe.
mm,
Let's just call it that. And that was it. Job.
yeah,
So that was just one example. So apply that then to all the bits and pieces in your life. You'll
exactly.
you'll absolutely figure it out. And the universe, this is one thing, Mind Hack 5, definitely. The universe always got your back. People think, oh, life's out to get me. When I hear that, you might as well just
But
like,
they're programming themselves, Vic. They're programming themselves if they're saying stuff like that, they're programming themselves. You know what I mean?
that's
So
right.
it's all about how we feed ourselves. Yeah. So it's like, oh, life keeps on happening to me, and oh, why do all these things keep on happening to me? Or I'm having a bad day. Yeah, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a shit day if you keep on saying it to yourself. You know what I mean? It's a mindset. It's like, like for me, it's like, yeah, we do come across these people, and it's like, but you're programming yourself. Imagine
Yeah.
you have the choice, and we talked about this before. You have the
Mhm.
choice to think the positive, you have the choice to take the negative. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The majority of people take the negative. They focus on it. They manifest that. They
Mhm.
manifest. Oh, I'm going to have a shit day, or oh, life keeps on happening to me, or oh, my parents got sick with this. I must be the same. Like,
Oh,
I believe hereditary stuff is from the mind,
thank
right?
you. I didn't know how to put that across. Totally not agree. It's learned behavior causes
Lemper,
imbalance. Yes. So if there's certain diseases and things in your family, it's not hereditary. It's learned behaviors. We take on so much from our parents because
hmm
with the eating stuff, so much of my childhood habits that I picked up, and it's really no fault of my parents. That was just the way they were brought up, so they pass it
yeah,
on to our kids. Um, so we don't know any better until it's made aware to us, and then it shows me actually, yeah, when you have that awareness to see this isn't helping me, this is part of the problem. So I need to eradicate it, and then see does that bring the solution in quicker. Um,
hmm
but yeah, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to have the toolkit and the positivity is obviously a major
yes,
factor. The willingness, the eagerness to bust it, because that's what we're here for. We're here to solve problems. We're here to evolve. We come in with nothing. I read this the other day. I don't know if it was a Buddhist saying, but it said we come here with our hands empty and we leave the same way.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it's funny because like a lot of people chase materialistic stuff, right? You can't bring these things with you. You know what I mean? Like you can't bring the cars with you. You can't bring the fancy houses with you. You can't
No.
bring all these pieces of clothing with you and all. And people put stress on themselves
Uh-huh.
chasing these things,
Exactly.
chasing all this material stuff, chasing. So it's like we talk about new beginnings, rebirths, renewal, and even recycling, right? Recycling should be a part of our economy now. Recycling, upcycling. That's utilizing stuff that's around us already, that we're not constantly purchasing more or wanting more, or yes, it's important to want more. Okay, we all want more in our lives,
Important.
but
It's important to have that experience as well because
yeah,
the soul is here gathering experiences to evolve. So experience
correct.
like to go through certain types of abuse or go through like we were talking about the bullying, but it's also important to experience what it's like to live in a nice home, to drive a nice car.
Mm, mm,
Experiences that some people are set up to have. Not everybody will choose that as part of their soul
yeah.
journey.
Well, we
Uh,
shouldn't put stresses on ourselves to achieve these things. So I think that it is nice to experience them, correct? But I,
Absolutely.
I think.
course.
people put too much pressure on themselves, especially the younger generation, right? The younger generations want things now. They want everything given to them. They want everything kind of, you know,
That's right.
and for me, it's the byproduct of TikTok and Instagram and all these things where they're seeing these things. They're seeing guys with the fancy cars, seeing guys, girls with the fancy living. They're seeing people, off in Cannes and places like that and wearing fancy clothes. And now
Yeah.
they have this in their mindset that they must achieve these things. But how
Hmm.
do they achieve these things? They want to become an influencer. They don't want to work. They don't want to like put the hard manual labor in anymore. So again, it's important for the kids out there, if any kids are watching this, that you need to go out and you need to work. You need to graft. You need to, create. You need to, innovate. You need to do these things. You're not everyone's going to become an amazing influencer. And at the end of the day, a lot of these influencers, they're not telling you the real story. That's probably a hired car. It's probably like, a house that they don't own. It's probably like, so I'm not saying it's all of them, right? There's probably a very, very small percentage that are,
Hmm.
experience that type of lifestyle, but
Yeah.
it's a very, very small percentage. You know what I mean? So I don't want to put anyone off their dreams or anything like that. But at the end of the day, if you pursue that path, you the chances are you might get disheartened. And what you do then after you get disheartened,
Yeah.
do you get depressed? Do you suffer from anxiety? Do you suffer from all these different things? You need to figure out if these things don't work, how do I start again? How do I focus again? How do I realign again? How
Yeah.
do I connect again? How do because I think a lot of these things are at fault with the stuff that's going on in the world, right? The things that kids are seeing nowadays is giving them false expectations. That's where
Mhm.
I think I was coming or getting
Yeah.
to with all this, right? False expectations. They chase, 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 chase. They chase
Mhm.
the material. They chase the this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden they're disheartened, and then they give up on everything. And it's like, oh, this does blah blah, it doesn't work, or it's a scam, or this, that, and the other. You
Mhm.
need to get back up on the horse, right? This is the year of the horse, and this rolls perfectly into actually last year was the year of the snake, right? It was all
That's
about shedding your skin,
mm,
getting rid of the old,
yeah.
rebirth. You're going into a new skin, and
Yeah.
then you're crossing over into the year of the horse, and the horse is all about strength. It's about pursuing. It's
You're
about
the new
chasing.
the ground from the snake to the high horse, and that
Mhm.
but everything you've wanted. So be careful. That's why I've worked with a lot of clients to make sure they're watertight about what they want this year. Because if you've put it out there, the universe is just it's working extra fast. It's like, oh, you wanted this, you wanted that one in blue, you wanted the green one. It's just going to dish it out fast. So make sure. And that's why I said to that girl yesterday. Yeah, a couple of days ago. What's your destination here? What is it you want? She was chasing, and you put you. That was a good. That would be mine. Has six. You don't chase anything.
Mhm.
Once you put out the bat signal that we've talked about before, then you sit still, observe, and then see what opportunities come. The doors will start to appear to you. You don't need to chase.
Correct.
You're
That's huge.
yeah, you're blocking it by chasing. So
Yeah.
chasing these clients. She was running around trying to keep this, everybody happy but herself, and she hadn't even put the sat nav destination in. She'd
Mm.
I mean, she's done it before, obviously, but in this case, it was just something she'd missed. So she didn't know what she wanted,
Well.
and chase, 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 chase. And just by taking a few minutes and her day ended up the way she wanted in the end because she was going off at 2 o'clock and then trying to come back to the roundabout and then going back at 4 o'clock. It was like, well, do you know what? Let's just go down the road and face the speed bump. What is the speed bump? The speed bump is
Mm.
the destination isn't set yet.
Hmm.
Just something simple in that case. People will say, "Oh, my life's more complicated." I laugh when I see this on Facebook. People say, "Relationship status, it's complicated." Why?
What does that mean? Are you complicating it by saying it's complicated? You
Because
know?
it's actually, an all joking aside, it's a self protection thing. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm good enough for a relationship. I know a lot of people probably disagree with me, um, but I mean, if friends who do it as well, they're afraid of that intimacy that a healthy relationship
Mm.
brings. Uh,
Yeah.
I went through that as well. It was something I'd learned going through life. You know, keep everybody here, hence the weight and all that. So I've had to learn all that and then unravel it and undo it. Um,
mm,
Now I don't put any relationship status up. I'm just like, I'm not even, I know what I want. I've got my destination set. I'm delighted in the relationship I'm in. If somebody wants to know about it, fine, I'll talk about it. But I don't need to broadcast it there. I don't need to say, oh, he brought me,
yeah,
did this. We're co-creating. He does all this stuff with me. I get negative at times, and he reminds me, and vice versa. And I'm sure it's the same with you and your partner. You keep each other right.
yeah.
You might veer,
We keep each other in check. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You just get back
Oh,
on track. Or sometimes
exactly.
do a side road together and just say, well, it's not part
Yeah,
of the plan, but hey, stuff it. We'll take a day off and do it.
yeah, true. It's like we complement each other. If one has a bad day, the other lifts the other person up. You know what I mean? But I like
That's
again, I very rarely have bad days, and I know like that sounds hard to understand or realize, but like again, if you worked on yourself so much over the last few years
yeah.
that you won't let anything affect you, like whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I
Mhm.
mentioned that before. It's like
Yeah.
you can have a shit day, but like it's how you deal with that shit day that
Mm,
will move you forwards. Excuse my language, excuse my French, whatever you want to say. But for me, like coming into this year and we again I love what you said there about like people are out there chasing. You shouldn't be
mm,
chasing. You should enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy
absolutely.
everything that's around you. And like I do a lot of stuff on grounding now as well, and making sure that you're present, making sure that you are well grounded, making sure that you're taking in the stuff around you that
Yeah.
we don't appreciate, we don't see sometimes we don't because we're so caught up in the chase. We're so caught up in the running, in the hamster wheel or on the roundabout or, deviating wherever we need deviating that,
Yeah.
we get caught up in that where
Mm-hmm.
you need to sometimes take time and sit back and relax and just go, wow, sometimes realize your achievements, realize how far you've come rather
Absolutely.
than chase. Sit back and take in something that's around you. Like, when's the last time any of us on this podcast have actually sat and looked at something like a daisy or a flower and appreciated it? Like, actually took the time and sat down and appreciated it, right? But because we're all in the chase,
Yeah.
we're all in so I take people out into the wilderness and, I get them to appreciate these things, get them
Mm-hmm.
to sit down, listen. When's the last time we just sat and listened in the wild and just listen and then home in on something that you hear out in the wild? It could be the rustling of trees, it could be the wind, it could be a bird, and these things can help you ground yourself and help you be more still and help you be more relaxed and
Right.
figure out okay and breath as well, working on your breath. So like I think it'd be great for everyone to start doing this stuff, on a daily basis. Where
Mm-hmm.
you start your day one, fresh day, do these things, appreciate tasting water, putting water into your mouth, hold it there for 10, 15, 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel?
Yes.
It's like, so again, it's something that, we don't appreciate. We just take the water and then that's it and it's gone. Or we take the sip of wine, boom, that's it, it's gone. Or whatever your poison is, right? So
Yes.
but we don't fully appreciate it. The wine, what you call them? Oh, Jesus. Um, I forget the name. Sommelier, right? A
Oh,
sommelier, they taste the wine, they hold it, they do it a certain way. They smell it, the aromas. Okay, they may get nutty textures and fruity forests and this, that, and the other, right? But
yes.
they're really they're using their palate properly. They're
Absolutely.
using their senses properly. So when's the last time we used any of these senses properly? When's the last time we actually tasted something? What I love about Spanish culture and where you are, you can actually taste the food. You can taste the freshness. You can taste I love Spanish fruit and veg because you can taste the sun. I love the
Okay.
way they cook a la plancha, where cooking with the salt, right?
Mm,
And very little sauces and stuff like that. Sauces disguise food. They cover food, right?
yeah.
But when you actually taste something, when you taste something that has its essence,
Yes. You
that's
get free. The way they cook the mushrooms, they do garlic mushrooms, but it's not like us with the batter and everything.
Mm.
They slice them, um,
Hmm.
slice, and then they cook them in the obviously oil, black pepper, garlic. I'm sure some other places use, and it's always fresh garlic and the flavor. And it's the same with prawns, gambas. They
Mm.
the exact same way. And I get excited and I start to salivate because I know I'm going to taste all these flavors.
Yeah.
Funny, you're talking about wine. There's a wine I've been drinking. I get from the local supermarket. One of the best wines. When I drank it there a few nights ago, I suddenly had this hint of strawberry
Wow.
in my mouth, and I'm like, I have never picked it before, but it was so because I was going, and I love strawberries, obviously, raspberries. So
Mm.
what is that? And usually when I can drink a wine like a white wine, I'm like, oh, grapefruit. I always pick up on grapefruit and certain other things.
Mm.
This red wine, there was definitely, I don't know this. And now that I'm aware of it, I'm going to pick up on that every time I have it.
Yeah.
I'm,
Maybe you tasted it for the first time.
yeah, it was. It was so
Mm.
weird and funny. You were talking about nature. I'll just share this quickly. This is probably mine hack 6. I think we're on now. I play paddle, which is obviously a big thing in Spanish culture. And one thing I love about the local courts that we play in, if you're playing in the evening, you get the sunset over the sea. Where it's located at the time, there's loads of peacocks. They just roam around, lots of birds roam around. And I didn't know peacocks lived in trees. They actually nest up in the trees.
Wow.
Didn't think they flew or had that about them. But now and again, and it's me that picks it up more so than the other people. You'll hit the ball, it'll come back at you, and you'll fluff it up in some way, and you're like, "Oh, damn it," or whatever word you want to use. And next thing you hear the peacock, as if it's laughing in the tree, going, "Yeah!" They sound like wow, wow, like cats in pain. But the timing of them sometimes, and then sometimes you'll get them one side of the court over here, and then in the distance, ones are down here, and they're talking. But I take a minute to appreciate that. And I said the other night, can we just take a minute to appreciate the sunset? Because it was all different colors.
Yeah.
Stop trying to distract us. And I just wanted to breathe. I'd had a bit of a rush to get there. It was my way of sort of settling. But I was just like, I threw like around the whole court. I just said, can we just take a minute to appreciate it? And everybody did.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I pick up on the peacocks and whatever else. Sometimes you get a massive, massive seagull going across, and look at him up there, and oh, there's the ball, and you're back into it. But God, I nearly, it's like this
Yeah.
yellow thing coming towards you, like, oh yes, I'm playing paddle, but it's music to my ears that you said that because I'm doing that instinctively now. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
done 10, 20 years ago. I'd just be like, oh, right, we're going to beat them. We're going to whip their ass this time. And, now I'm appreciating, yeah, we're so fortunate to have this outdoor event. People all over England and Ireland are playing paddle indoors
Yeah.
in old warehouses, which is great because it's great exercise. To me, it's more fun than the gym. You have to play with 3 other people. You can't play the game on your own. It's not as good playing, you can get single courts, but why? Why would you do that? Play 4 people, and then we're all in all the clubs are all in different groups. So you mingle, you socialize, and you get to know people. And then we organize dinners and events and things outside the court, But it's what you're saying, taking in nature.
Taking in nature,
That
appreciating. You talked about appreciating. It's so important,
and it was only when you said there, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like me and paddle. And sometimes I'm doing a bit of a dance just to get my energy up.
Yeah.
And everybody has a bit of a laugh, but relaxes because I've noticed first 10, 15 minutes are all like, "Ugh." And once we
Mm.
laugh about something or somebody court and then have to run and get it. Yeah, there's funny things that happened, obviously. But yeah, it's just being mindful of that. Not taking it too seriously. Some people do. But lucky enough, the ones I play with, we're never going to be professionals. We're all there for the exercise and the social aspect. But as you said,
Nice.
taking in the nature would be the cherry on top for me in that terms.
Yeah.
Um,
And like, maybe you should do it more often with them, and maybe you should do some grounding techniques with them as well. Because
yeah,
again, it's about creating awareness, right? And this is what these podcasts are for. It's awareness, right? It's creating awareness of these things that we may not be aware of. It's spreading this kind of knowledge that we have, right? And figuring out how do we take this knowledge and package it off and bring it to another level, right? Sorry, I just got distracted by a magpie who took a big, massive stick in its mouth and flew off the
Yes.
ground up. So, for me, I see these things. I appreciate them. I appreciate that this magpie has just taken a big, massive stick, about two or three times as big as itself, and
Yeah.
thrown off with it to build a nest somewhere. So for me, it's observing these things and appreciating them and figuring out, okay, sight, what we see, taste, what we taste. You talked about the wine, smell, what we smell. Sometimes we don't take in nature through our noses, right?
Mhm.
Because you just close your eyes and breathe in the air. You know what I mean? And smell it.
I get
Smell how fresh it is. The sea air.
see
It's a different smell. You
you read
know,
there.
yeah.
I felt it straight away.
Touch as well. Touch is so very, very important, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time we actually touched something? When's actually last time we felt something? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So, like these are things that we need to be more aware of, and
Yeah.
just so sight, smell, feel, touch,
Mm.
taste. These things, if we appreciate them more, it's like a fresh start as well. It's like a new beginning. So
Yeah.
imagine you're a baby. Imagine
Mm.
you're a newborn baby in the world. Your rebirth, right? This is day one. You're seeing things for the first time. You're
Yeah.
tasting things for the first time. You're
Mm-hmm.
touching things for the first time.
Yeah.
Your senses are becoming alive with all these things that are happening all around us.
Yes.
So we should be like babies. Adults
Yeah.
should be like babies. I know that sounds crazy, right? But we should all be like babies. It's
Yeah.
day one. It's day one of our birth. We've
Mm-hmm.
been dropped on the planet by the pelican. Yeah, so or the stork or whatever it was, right? So day one, right?
Yeah.
You're here and you have all the stuff around you to discover, to
Mm-hmm.
see, to taste, to smell, to realize, to learn. They're like sponges. They soak up stuff. They soak up all this stuff. My 2-year old is crazy. She
Yeah.
she 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 she's beyond her years in what she takes on board in her mind, what she
Mm-hmm.
touches, what she says, what everything, right? But
Yes. That's
I
great.
I'm trying to see the world from her eyes. I'm trying
Right.
to be like her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if I'm like her, I don't have the conditionings, I don't
Mm.
have the traumas, I don't have the pains, I don't have the suffering that all of us hold on to. And
Mm.
today is day one. She
Yeah.
wakes up in the morning, she doesn't have any of that stuff. She's just
Mm.
like, What are we doing today? Let's go. What are we doing? It's like, and it's all this, it's excitement about the world. We
Yes.
should have each and every day, each and every one of us
Yeah.
be excited.
Ex-
Be excited and feel, taste, discover, smell, create, whatever you need to do, be excited.
Yes.
That's very, very important. So
Exactly.
sorry, Vic,
No, no,
I'm
it's no.
hugging the camera here. Go ahead.
You're getting me, because you're firing off. My cylinders are firing off here. I think we got to mine hack six there, did we, or did we? I can't remember.
6, you said, yeah, I
It's six.
believe.
So
Or did
my
we skip one or two along the way? Anyway, we'll find out after.
no, just remind me another mind hack in terms of starting the day as a new start. Um no, it's left. No, it hasn't left me. It's still here. We had six. Yeah.
6, 7. What all the kids are doing now. I don't know if you come across that.
Oh yeah, what is that about?
It's my Amber, my eldest, right? She showed me what it was about. It was about some kid who was at a basketball game, and the
Mm-hmm.
basketball game there was certain points and all this blah 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 blah. And then somebody turned the camera to this kid, and the kid goes 6, 7 or something like that. And then ever since then, he became viral. And then all of a sudden, all the kids are now 6, 7, and there's branded stuff. There's it's crazy. It's crazy what becomes viral nowadays in kids' space is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now
Like
all
it,
the kids are going 6, 7, and they're getting in trouble in schools for saying 6, 7, and it's crazy. Anyway,
right. Yeah, it's like this. Just to sidestep a little bit. The when the was it an office I was in, and I heard them saying about oh, this car, it's sick, and this is sick, and that's sick, and I could feel it starting to grind my gears a bit. It was like, what's
well,
going on with me? And then I realized they're using the word sick, but they're
yes,
using the word sick without the K.
yeah.
Had to keep it.
Change your language, change your life, people.
Oh, no, well, funny enough, that was a couple of weeks later. He did get all the flu and all that was coming in.
Mm,
Like, did that have any impact? I hope not, but I knew by the way I felt. It was it was like, oh, I want to protect myself. I don't like
Yeah,
cringy, and then I had to say no. It's sick as an SIC. I had to change the way I thought about it. So maybe it didn't.
right.
I thought I just needed to release through the cold or whatever. But I just hear it now and again, and that's my way that I've changed it in terms of no, it's not sick as in SICK. It's sick as an SIC. It's cool. It's there. It's happening. It's
Mm.
down with the kids, as they say. As an older person,
Mm.
would say down with the
Somebody, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. Somebody said to me recently that they don't, if they have a cold or flu or something like that, they don't call it that. They call it a detox.
a
So
detox.
they don't call it a cold. They don't call it flu. They don't call it getting sick. They don't call it any of this stuff. They just call it a detox. It's my system detoxing. It's a
Yeah.
different way of saying it, right?
Mm.
So, again, it's as I said just prior there, change your language, change your life. You know what I
Yes.
mean? What you say,
Education,
and
because
yeah,
it's coming from the lungs. You're detoxing the lungs. The lungs produce our emotions of sorrow, grief, sadness. I know there's a couple more in there as well. All those emotions are getting stuck, so your body needs to release it somehow. And
hmm
if you know which part you're releasing from, but that's where the education. So I suppose that's mind hack 6 is be more aware where you again the road bumps can show you where you're lacking in information. Um,
yeah,
and if I didn't know, if I was just having another cold, but I know now looking back, the pattern I had was it came to any sort of holiday time, especially Christmas, and I'd be ended up in bed most of the time ill because or detoxing as I know now. But that was just a time for my body to relax. It's like going on holidays. We said you go on holiday, you're relaxing, and your body starts to shovel it all out, and you're like,
yeah.
oh. I've got a cold or a flu. No, you're detoxing. You're getting rid of that stress energy that you had. Um,
Mm,
so that's what it is. So yeah, it's mostly the lungs because they hold traumas and all those different emotions that um
exactly, exactly.
that's a big one for a lot of people is uncried tears where we
Yeah.
didn't express the sadness. We're told crying is bad and it's all somebody must need to hear to hear this because I randomly went on to that. But um I know the process too well now. I was like, why did I talk about that? And then
It's amazing because it's like a cleansing, and not enough of us cry often enough,
yeah,
especially men,
I cry.
so you have to let go. It's a way of letting go. It's a
Mm,
way of refreshing. And like, I love a good cry. You know what I
mm,
mean? If I see something, or freaking Lion King gets me every time at the end of it. It destroys me. You know what I mean? So like, it's good to cry. It's good to show emotion, especially men. We bottle everything up, and we kind of, and we want to protect ourselves because we're supposed to be protectors. We're supposed to be the hunter gatherers. We're supposed to be, blah blah blah. So, but you need to figure out ways of letting go, and letting go of things, letting go your emotions, your soul, your body needs these things. Why is it possible to cry in the first place? Your body needs it.
yeah,
You need to let go. You need that release. You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't possible for us to cry, I I think it would be a horrible place. I think the world would be a horrible place if you couldn't
yeah.
cry, right? Because you'd
I know.
have to hold in all this stuff, and it's a release. Let it go. Let
And
everything go. Let it flow.
you can cry. There's times I see people achieve what they wanted. When that girl said she got the sale, um,
Mm,
and everything worked out at the end of the day. I felt myself getting emotional and happy for her.
yeah,
But I just look how simple it was. And the previous conversation we had kind of went out of her head because it didn't matter anymore. Because I said,
yeah,
got your clarity and did it. And she says, oh, yeah. She says, of course. So she totally had started to delete that because it didn't matter anymore once you get rid of a block. Um,
yeah.
it can't affect you, it can't impact you in any way.
Wow. Well, and something actually, this is weird, right? Well, it's weird and not weird. Last night, I was watching Predator Badlands. I love the Predator series of films, right?
Right?
Amazing, amazing films. Um, so last night I watched it because I was a bit dubious about seeing it because I saw some trailers and stuff like that, and I thought maybe no, it's great. But there was a brilliant storyline in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can finish up shortly.
Yes.
Right, but here's the thing: the storyline was. this predator was part of a clan, and I hope that this doesn't ruin everything for people, right? And
But
the predator basically, it was part of a clan where it wasn't accepted because it was seen as the weakest predator, right? And the father killed killed the brother in front of the weaker one, right? Because the brother couldn't make a decision on taking the weaker one out, so he
right.
wanted to protect the weakest one. And then the weaker one went off and it did its thing, went off to a planet where all these things can kill it.
Mm-hmm.
So it came across a synthetic, which is like say an AI robot, right?
Yes.
And this robot basically helped it discover things about itself, helped it kind of think maybe a different way. It
Mm-hmm.
talked about a wolf to the predator because the predator wanted to be a lone kind of wolf and wanted to be a thing where it wants to show strength. It wants to be a hunter gatherer. It wants to go off after these things, and like show
Yeah.
and prove to the clan. But then it came across as the synthetic, and the synthetic said to him, "Listen, you need to be like a wolf. The wolf, what does the wolf do? Like it hunts as a pack. They work together. They don't
Yeah.
work by themselves." And you could see the predator kind of having the thought process. Like, it was still kind of very putting up its barriers, and because this is the way it's been taught since birth. Oh, I want to be aggressive and everything else. But then it started to realize certain things. They came across this little creature. The creature spat on it as part of a kind of ritual of that creature's clan and stuff like that. And the brother was like, What's this? You know what I mean? So it didn't know whether to kill the creature or not. So,
Yeah.
but then it started making friends with the creature and seeing the creature as an ally because the synthetic was like, oh, you need to,
Hi.
make friends with this thing. Where's Bud? Where's our little Bud?
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh, but in actual fact, because the predator was hunting a bigger creature, right,
Mm-hmm.
and going after to bring its head back to its clan and this and the other, it came across the creature, and the creature was about to kill the predator, and then it smelt the predator and stopped. There was something on the predator that was like, that it
Uh,
recognized. The
it's,
the little bud was the bigger creature's kid, and it backed off and then let go. And and the predator was thinking, why is that? And then it put two and two together. It's because Bud was the creature's kid. And then
mm-hmm.
it had flashbacks of what happened in its family and the trauma that happened in its family. And I was like, well, this is different. This is a different dynamic. It's seen a different dynamic. And then all of a sudden the little bud started working with the predator, and the predator started working with little bud. And then the bigger creature obviously didn't kill the predator. But
No.
then as they were going along, they made friends with another creature as well. And
Right.
all of a sudden, the predator was embracing this new concept of being a wolf and
Okay.
working as a pack
The
and
pack.
working together and something. And
Yeah.
it changed its mindset from a mindset of, oh, I need to be this aggressive creature. I need to be this, and kill everything in my path, to a mindset of, what happens if I work together with people? What happen, or other creatures? Let's say other creatures for the continuity of this. What
Yeah.
happens if I work with other creatures? What happens if I let go of these past traumas? What happens
Mm-hmm.
if I let go of what I've been taught to
Yes.
to perceive? And then it started working together. It started working, holistically and spiritually with other things. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it was something that was very, very strong and very, very impactful.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to say that because, you know, that was its day one. That was its new beginnings. That was its renewal, right? So the renewal there was a new beginning, a fresh start for it. But it embraced it. It embraced it because it was learning from other things, and
Yeah.
only because it was put to another society in another realm where it wasn't in that clan of that aggressiveness of that, and then it was seeing another way. It was seeing another way of life. It was seeing another meaning behind life. So and then it was embracing. And so
Mm-hmm.
then, you had the predator showing a sensitive side as well, where it'd come up to things and it would go to the little bud and touch heads, you know, and it
Right.
would embrace. So all of a sudden, this aggressive creature had become more humane, had become more kind of, and learned. But we need to be open to learnings. We need to be open to fresh starts. We need to be open to new beginnings.
Yeah. Education and awareness goes a long way, doesn't it? So,
It does. It
right.
does.
Well, thank you so much. I'll let you close. Actually, you opened some.
Yeah, okay. Well, guys, thank you very much. I think we can touch on this topic again because I
Mm,
think it's something that's very, very strong. And I know myself and Vic could go on all day about this, right? But we're a bit stuck for time today. Vic has to go off paddle boarding. I'm meeting a friend of mine now.
paddle,
Um,
paddle tennis.
Guys, yeah, today is day one for each and every one of us, right? Today is day one. Have a
Mm-hmm.
fresh start, new beginning. Leave the past behind you. Focus on the now. The future will take care of itself. Change your language, change your life. These are
Absolutely.
the things that can push us forwards. But if you let all this past baggage, all this past hurt, all this past trauma get you, then it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a different animal.
Yeah.
So, a different predator out there in the world, right?
That's
You you have the choice.
yeah.
Yeah, we have the choice. We have the choice to be aggressive, and we have the choice to be hurt by traumas. We have a
Mhm.
choice to, we all have choice. Yeah. So what you choose can change the course of your life, change the course of your destiny,
Mhm.
and just let things flow. Just let, if you're going around the roundabout, if you're on the hamster wheel, get off the hamster wheel, get off the roundabout,
Yeah.
choose the exit that is free, is clear. You'll come across the exits that have the blockages, but just follow your path and figure it out, and don't let these things get you as much as everyone else out there lets them get to.
That's
So thank
true.
you, Bob.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.
As
Vic,
usual.
absolute amazing call, and we'll chat soon.
Okay, we'll see you in the next one.
God bless.